Alright guys, welcome to the video. My name is Lachlan Ralston and today I am going to take you through the top 5 professions in the fitness industry and how each of them make money and, most importantly, how much money they can make. The fitness industry is one of the fastest growing industries in the world. So you're watching this, you're wondering, can I actually make a real career? Can I make real money in the fitness industry? And deciding where I want to go, which side I want to pick, which silo I want to put myself in, maybe multiple silos. But the first question you have to answer for yourself is, what is a good life for you? Is it living out on the farm and cutting your costs and keeping them low, or is it living a big life? Is it driving a nice car? Is it having a big house? Is it having a big family, putting braces on your kids, putting them in private schools? That's a hard question to answer, but try and answer that first, because answering that question as honestly as possible is going to set you up to really choose what the right career is for you in the fitness industry. Let's get into it. So who am I and why am I entitled to talk about this? Well, I've been in the fitness industry for 11 years now, going into my 12th year, and I've done all these roles and I still continue to do quite a few of them. I started out, I did personal training, I did outdoor boot camps in the park, and then I moved into the world of CrossFit, where I became a CrossFit instructor, drank the Kool-Aid, went headfirst into CrossFit, did every single type of work you could do as a CrossFit coach. I was an online coach, I would program for people as well, like just do programming, then I would just do online coaching. But then I'd also coach classes as well, and I'd coach individual classes, I'd coach gymnastics, weightlifting, so I've done all of that. And then I moved into owning a gym, and I didn't stop there. I ended up owning multiple gyms, so at one stage owning 3 gyms, currently still own 3 gyms, but 2 different brands. And then also along the way started a fitness podcast. It grew very quickly to become the #1 fitness podcast in Australia, and through that, sold online programs. So that's obviously another way that fitness people make money, is they sell programs online. So also doing that as we speak as well. So not only have I done a lot of those things, but by going into each of those silos, you start to meet and network other professionals like you in that industry. So very fortunate to be great friends with people like James Smith and Sonny Webster, and guys like Andrew Papp. So people who are huge in the online space, have done very well, and know a little bit about the insides of their business, obviously not everything, but also have loads of friends that are PTs, loads of friends that are gym owners, franchise owners, group fitness instructors, and everything in between. So have a network within each of the silos as well. So I feel very qualified to talk about it. If you feel like I don't, then you can obviously just turn the video off, and I'll see you on the next one. We're gonna go through the first of 5 different professions, and now I have ranked them in ascending order in terms of how much money you can make in terms of earning potential. Okay, so obviously at all of these you can earn very little money if you don't do well, but what is the potential? Where is the ceiling to make money? So the lowest ceiling, and this is based off every single one of these working full time. So not a side hustle, not 10, 20 hours a week, this is a full 37 to 40 hours a week. Okay, so number 1 is the group fitness instructor. Okay, so the average price per session is $30. The average session size is 8 to 20 people. Your coaching capacity is 20 to 40 hours per week. Some may say more. I've hired these people, I've done it myself for a very long time. 40 is definitely the upper limit unless you want to completely burn yourself out in a few months. 20 is on the low end. I wouldn't do less than 20 if you were full time. Adding all these up gives you a total salary of anywhere between $30,000 to $60,000 per year, Australian dollars per year, as a group fitness instructor. Pilates, yoga, CrossFit, F45, Orange Theory, you name it. Anyone who is employed and works as a group fitness instructor, that is usually the cap. Now obviously there's some variation in that, but that is the average salary range. Last thing I add, probably the biggest upside to this is there are almost no costs associated with being a group fitness instructor. Maybe, you know, a new pair of shoes or a nice haircut, but more or less no costs associated with the group fitness instructor. Okay, so the next profession is being an outdoor boot camp owner. So someone now, you're kind of moving into that, I kind of own my job, whereas this is your boot camp. I guess you employ yourself. It is a business technically, but really you just own your own job. So the average outdoor boot camp charges $25 per week. A session size can range from 10 to 30 people per session. The client capacity ranges a lot and it varies a lot. Now for one person, this would be a lot of work, but it could range from 50 clients all the way up to 200. This leaves you with an average salary or earnings of the business of $65 up to about $220,000 to $250,000 per year. Now, when you obviously move up to that upper range, you do have some more associated costs. Very likely at this point, you've purchased some equipment, you have a lot of clients, you might need to manage them in some kind of software, you might have a website, you probably employ a couple of trainers to help cover you. So the costs have gone up significantly, not dramatically like a gym, but they definitely have gone up, but that is your range. So after you're done with all the costs, we're gonna work off an average of a 50% take home. Okay, so our third and one of the most true and tried and tested is the PT. So the sole trader PT, someone who contracts themselves out to another gym, is their own brand, their own business, again, owns their own job. So the average price in Australia for a PT for an hour session is 100 Australian dollars. Now, obviously this can vary widely. People can charge up to 200, people charge as little as $40, but in an hour, we're gonna average this one out, easy maths, $100 per session. Your typical session size is 1 to 2 people. And your client capacity ranges from 10 clients up to 50. Now, of course, I said 10 because some might do 4 or 5 times a week. There are those clients out there. If you have 10 clients doing 5 sessions a week, that's a busy week. Or if you have 50 clients doing 1 session a week, again, same amount of hours, a very busy week. This gives you an average salary of $50,000 up to $250,000 per year. The main costs associated with being a sole trader PT is the rent. So depending on what gym you're at, they're gonna charge you a rental fee each week that you pay to them, and you're contracted to pay a certain amount of weeks and months per year to use the space and use the equipment. So that gives you a take-home percentage of anywhere between about 60 to 80%. Okay, so a great career to get into as a personal trainer. Lots of earning potential, really common, tried and tested path, and a great starting point for a lot of you out there. Okay, we move into our fourth career, which is a gym owner. One of the current careers that I'm still doing. Now, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated, where we go from one gym to multiple gyms to potential franchise owner. Full discretion, I'm not a franchise owner. May or may not have plans to do that in the future, but right now, I do have friends that do own franchises, own hundreds of gyms under that franchise label, so I do know a little bit about that, and I will speak to it. But it will get a little bit more complicated from here on out. Now, when we're going to be talking about the gyms in this, we're going to be referring to group fitness gyms. That's only because they're the most common gyms right now, and it has the lowest barrier to entry for most people. To buy a franchise, to start their own brand, most people are starting with some kind of client base and some kind of group focus session. Okay, so the average group fitness gym, it may shock you a little bit here, but a lot of them don't earn a lot of money. So I know that because I've done it myself, I've been there myself, I've had colleagues and friends that have done it as well. But once you start to get the hang of things and you really move into that 1% of gyms that do a really good job, you can make a really good living. So for a single gym, you can probably make a range of 150,000 up to 600,000 Australian dollars per year. Now, in terms of a take home and a net profit, so how much is left at the end after taxes, if you're doing a really good job, you're gonna move towards that 20%, but the average is more like 10%. Most people I know sit somewhere around 5%. So when it comes to actual take home for the owner, are they gonna be a bit of profit? Is it gonna be a bit of salary? I often find it's a bit of a mix, but to give you an idea, most gym owners pay themselves somewhere between $35,000 all the way up to about $100,000 per year. Okay, so I'll let you make your mind up on that. It's probably a lot lower than what you expected. But that is the truth. A lot of single gym owners only pay themselves that much. Obviously, running a business, running a gym has a lot more costs associated with it. It's very different to being the other professions I spoke about before this. But now let's look at what it's like to own multiple gyms. Let's talk about owning multiple gyms. So really, I'm just going to let you do the maths on the one before and multiply it out. But it's probably important to know that your costs keep increasing. Now, obviously, each gym has a set amount of costs, but as you open more gyms, you do have somewhat of what I call HQ costs. So these are your marketing team, these are your ads, this is the brand, this is the stuff that happens behind the scenes to keep the businesses growing as you move towards, potentially looking at doing a franchise if you want to go that big. So multiply it out. I would say without franchising, the most amount of gyms you could probably own is somewhere between 10 to 15. That would really be pushing it before you open a franchise. But most people, personally I own 3. I do know some people that own 4, 5, 6, but after a while it does get extremely tough without the franchise model. Okay, so you run the maths on that. I would say that the take home, the salary is pretty similar. It might increase a little bit up to maybe $150,000 per year. Obviously there is more money in the business, but a lot of it is being reinvested back into growing the gyms. What owners really hang around for at this stage, having multiple gyms, is a big sale. So that's really where they get to pay themselves a good wage and then cash in, sell all the gyms together, bundle them up, and walk away with anywhere between a couple $1 million, maybe a little bit less, under $1 million, just depending on how the gyms have gone. Okay, so let's move on to franchises. Now, everyone's heard of F45. We know Adam Gilchrist just made the rich list. That is a huge exception to all the other franchises. Some of the most successful franchises, as well as F45, like Barry's Bootcamp, Orange Theory, those owners are millionaires as well, so they make plenty of money. But what about the franchises that you kind of know that are in your local town but aren't global, aren't everywhere? How well do they do? From what I understand, you don't start to make really good money as a franchise because there are so many costs involved, so much work involved until you really get to sort of that 50 gym mark. So once, as the owner, you get to that 50 gym mark, it gets really complicated, right? You've got potential investors involved. What is your role in the company? How is the salary associated with that? But what I would safely say is that 50 gyms under a franchise, you're doing quite well, it's quite healthy. Hopefully most of the locations are profitable. You as an owner running the brand could make anywhere from $150,000 up to $250,000 per year. And again, you are looking to set yourself up for a big sale at the end of that and cash out. That's it for the gyms. Okay, we talked about a single gym, multiple gyms, and then franchising, which for a lot of people is the golden ticket. Let's move on to online coaching. Okay, so we're the 5th and final profession in the industry and the newest one, which is online coaching, or really anything online. And there's a couple of different categories we'll work with. So we've got the online coach, so someone who's basically a personal trainer, but online. The second is we've got an influencer, so someone who talks about fitness content, creates fitness content like this, and then maybe puts it on YouTube, gets money off YouTube. Maybe they have a podcast like I have. Sell ads on Instagram. They could potentially also have a big audience where they sell ads and products as well. Third type of person is someone who sells programs. So this is someone most likely has an audience or is some kind of influencer as well. And I'd say very similar. A lot of these kind of come with that online audience. But what you get with that third person is they're selling their programming knowledge, right? So their exercise programming, maybe their nutrition programming. They're not really coaching people. Instead, what they're doing is they're templating out their knowledge in some kind of PDF or maybe video form, and they're selling that at scale to their audience. And finally, the fourth, which is really just a more built out version of the program sales and the online coach, is consolidating it all into an app. So someone who owns and runs a fitness app. And this is people like, who I mentioned before, James Smith with his academy, people like Kayla Itzines, who has Sweat, and then also, I guess you could say, Chris Hemsworth, who has his app, CenterFit. Okay, so let's speak about online coaching first. Really, online coaching, it's about the same as being a PT. You're obviously just not on the gym floor. Your work is a little bit different, but the hours are pretty similar. Don't be fooled. The amount of clients are pretty similar. The work is just a little bit different, but ultimately the take home and the money is the same. So I'm going to give it somewhere between $50,000 up to $250,000 per year, potentially a little bit higher, maybe $300,000, $400,000 if you have really efficient systems. Maybe you have some overseas virtual assistant help as well. You're really savvy, really good with clients, got a great system, but that's our range we're going to work with. 50 up to say like $300,000 per year. The next is we have the influencer who is selling ads or some kind of ad revenue, some things that we do. Now, again, it comes back to the very first question at the start of this video. What is a good life? How much money do you want to make? Because really, depending on the size of your audience is how much money you can make. But to give you an idea for an audience size that is quite significant, so let's say 10,000 engaged listeners, 10,000 engaged viewers, 10,000 engaged potential customers, from your ad revenue, you could make somewhere between $50,000 up to $100,000 per year. Okay, so let's multiply that out. So if you had 10 or 100 times the audience, 100,000, a million people, we're looking at potentially $1 million to $10 million just off ad revenue. And this is the kind of numbers that these people do. Obviously, it's not just views, there's a lot more that goes into it, but a really engaged audience, people that will buy from you, people that will listen to you. If you have those sorts of numbers, you can make that sort of money off ads. Okay, program sales, so the person who is selling their knowledge in program form. Again, this varies a lot, but I would say that most programs are being sold anywhere between sort of $25 to $30 per program. And customers don't really buy a lot of programs. So the thing is, you've got to make a lot of one-time sales. I would say most people need to sell about 250 to 300 programs per month. And that would give you about $9,000 to $10,000 per month. Total around $100,000 per year as a salary. So getting into program sales, you do need a big audience and they need to be buying a lot of programs from you and constantly buying programs from you so that you can live well and make good money. Okay, and finally we have the people who have these apps. And there is a lot of unknown. How wealthy are they? We know that Kayla Itsines cashed out. Her net worth is now looking somewhere between $50 to $100 million. So we know that when you cash out, you can make a lot of money, but do all these apps make money? Very likely they don't. A lot of tech companies have very high costs. They've got development, they've got constant marketing, they burn a lot of cash, but you can get a big paycheck if it's successful enough. I do know though that my friends that have great apps do really well financially. They make plenty of money. I can't give exact figures because I don't know exact figures, but it would be hundreds of thousands of dollars approaching 7 figures. So if you have a really successful app, you have tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of people using the fitness app, paying, they're engaged in the app, you can easily be pulling in $500,000 to $1 million per year, just paying yourself, not just off the profits of the business. Alright guys, thank you so much for tuning into this video and watching it all the way to the end. And hopefully that was insightful. I want to encourage as many people as possible to get into the fitness industry because it is it's an exciting career. You get to be with your clients face to face in a lot of instances. You get to help people, you get to change lives, and that's what we love so much about fitness. And also it keeps us accountable, it keeps us healthy, it helps us to be leaders in health amongst our community. So I'm excited for you guys who are in the fitness industry. I'm excited for you guys who are starting in the fitness industry as well. I hope to see many more of you in the future. So if you want to see the live version of what it's like for me running gyms with my business partners, running a fitness podcast, doing all those things I talked about, making money, selling programs, growing your business, that is what Behind the Project is. Those are the seasons, those are the behind the scenes of our life, what we do, the vlog style. And you can tune in every single Wednesday at 6 p.m. We'll be putting out those videos for the new season. So make sure you check them out. Go watch them now. And guys, again, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like, comment. Love you as always. See you on the next video.